Sasquatch, also known as Bigfoot or Grassman. In the South is referred to as skunk ape or wood booger. And across the globe, Yeti, Yowie, and Yeren, to name a few. Every Native American tribe has a name for the beast, some as endearing as Big Brother, or as ominous as Boss of the Mountain. They've been depicted on the walls of caves for thousands of years. In 986 AD, Leif Erikson, after landing on the shores of what is now America, wrote of being attacked by large, hairy, man-like beasts. In 2016, there were over 5,500 reported sightings of these creatures worldwide. There is an abundance of physical, empirical, and anecdotal evidence of the existence of these seemingly human primates, yet it is still considered a myth. Our focus is not to research or try to prove Bigfoot exists, but to highlight the many men and women that do. My co-host Linda and I will travel the country, interviewing and taking expedition with those that have the courage to call themselves cryptozoologist and Bigfoot researcher, probing and tapping into what motivates their search, showcasing their best evidence, and bringing to you the different styles and methods they use to hunt this elusive creature. I'm Kerry Arnold, and this is Bigfoot Odyssey.
In this episode of Bigfoot Odyssey, travel show number 13, we're in the scenic environs of the Adirondacks, inside the Blue Line, with one of my favorite YouTube channels, Blue Line Bigfoot. We'll talk with Adam and Jake. We'll hear some of their accounts and experiences, and what got them started on their own Bigfoot Odyssey. Now, Adam and Jake, take us on your own journey, going from average Joe to having your own YouTube channel.
Well, Jake, where should we begin?
Oh, I think we should start at the beginning, Adam. Let's go way back to before this thing ever started.
Way back before this ever started. Okay. How far back? Like when we were kids, or?
No, not that far. Let's go back. How about we focus right from 2014, 2015, and maybe 2013 on. 2013 on.
So you're talking about when me and Jake, throughout our lives, always wanted to do something fun with video and have a good time. And then we started looking into like a bunch of different things that happened to us in the Adirondacks where we live, and we wanted to come up with a fun show about paranormal activity and unknowns in the Adirondacks.
Winker and Buzz.
Winker and Buzz, yeah. Winker and Buzz, Adirondack Paranormal Investigators. And it's kind of started there. We went on a couple shoots, actually. We shot some stuff. We were looking into maybe getting some stories from people who have had UFO encounters and whatnot. And we were kind of working our way through.
Like us. Ironically, one of our first shoots was right down the road on
Federal Flats?
Federal Flats Road, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I still have that footage. That's unreleased footage.
Bonus.
Then something happened, okay? It was an encounter. It was something that happened to me personally that was very unexplainable. Looked into it, and it kind of seemed like all the signs are pointing toward maybe this was Bigfoot. And we went from wanting to go investigate ghosts and UFOs and anything else, including Bigfoot, to wanting to do just Bigfoot at that point. And we just hit the ground running and went from there. Jake, what do you think? You seen something up there, Jake?
Yeah, is that a cardinal or a blue jay just leaning in on top of that? Oh, jeez Louise.
Tough to tell in this light out there.
Hard telling, not knowing. Sorry to get distracted. I think it was the abundance of paranormal and kind of things you can't put your finger on, experiences that we had before we looked into Bigfoot that kind of got us already rolling in this direction. But once you get up here, I'll just say we don't have to go looking because it's in our backyard. So, geez Louise.
we don't have to go anywhere to do some field research or talk to people who've had experiences with Bigfoot, and it makes it easy and it's fun.
UFOs, and
Yeah,
Dog
and
Man.
UFOs, yeah. Lights, strange lights, UFOs.
I didn't like
Dog
that
Man
one.
sometimes, Jake. Dog Man.
I didn't like that one. No.
Jake, what about like something? We'll get into my little story a little bit later. What about you? Didn't you have an interesting story that kind of happened? Part of it right down this road, or something?
Yeah, it did start right on this road, about 3 or 4/10 of a mile to the left, about 267 paces from where we are right now.
Let's go to the exact location. Have Jake walk us through it.
Well, I guess here would be the spot. It all happened right here. Is where we were out here on the deck, real late, early in the morning, and I think the party kind of broke up, and that's when I just came out here and started walking. The date started early because we were cooking for our friend's wedding. Tom and Molly were getting married down at the beach. My better half, Catherine, and I had been elected to help out with some of the food down there. And since Katie already ran the beach stand, the concession stand down there, a food place out of there, it was a good, it only seemed natural. Could run it right out of there and, quick and easy, right? So that's how it started. And then it went on to the wedding, and then it progressed to the after hours, and kind of the last man standing party around the big table in the rental house up the road, the big, anyway, long story longer. We'd been up a long time, the royal we, and it was about 2 a.m, and it was time to head home. And it was one of those, how you ever drank yourself sober? They say you drink yourself sober, but it's not really that. It's more like you stop drinking after a little while, so like the last 3 hours, maybe you're nursing like 2 beers. Maybe that was it, because, I wasn't full, but at the same time, I had 2.7 miles to walk, so I knew I couldn't be, one-eyeing it back to the place. Anyway, long story longer, I start the walk, and it was 2010. In 2009, I dropped a lot of weight. I got down to fighting weight. Jeez Louise, I was probably going 170 around that time, and then I got down to like 155. I was doing a bunch of rock work, and wow, I was, so I was watching that Rocky Balboa marathon on Labor Day weekend about a month or so before that. So, I'm running down the road, I'm jogging, feeling good about myself, not necessarily about my choices of not getting a designated driver that night. But, so anyway, I'm jogging home.
How long was it?
Jeez, what?
The distance that you had to go from where that house.
2.7 miles
2.7.
from our old house on Church Road, across from St. Joe's.
It's not too far, but it's almost
bad.
3 miles.
Yeah.
It's substantial.
And there's only one hill. Kelly Hill is nice, but that's a little 2-part kind of hill that it's not too bad.
Just a slight uphill at the end up from the dam and then up to your house.
Yeah. See, usually I like to you do that last burn. So from Gagno's house up to St. Joe's, I used to like to sprint.
Yeah.
That last.
Finish strong.
Oh yeah, you gotta finish strong, bud. But all that's only on paper. It didn't work out necessarily 100% of the time, all the time. But that time, it was about halfway through the journey. I got down to this almost to Hewitt's place, coming around the corner, getting over the dam, or getting over the Minerva Stream, almost to the dam. And I had been running downhill, and there's a little flat part, and I stopped by the bridge there, and just to like catch your breath. And it was nice out that night. It wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. Early October, was it October 2nd, 2010, I believe the wedding day was. We'll have to go look at the the napkins I got upstairs. But it was a beautiful day, like, really warm and even not too bad that time. And actually, right before then, coming around that corner, I was getting so hot and doing kind of the Rocky Balboa thing. Took my shirt off, and I was, feeling good about myself. I wouldn't take my shirt off now, because I'm not down to fighting weight. But anyway, I get to the bridge. And I'm not there like 45 seconds to a good minute, but I'm like catching my breath, and it's just like, whew, it's like a slow thing, and I'm like, so bridge was a good spot to kind of stop and, collect your breath, and so, use the guardrail for, set that purpose, and just sitting there looking at the moonlit waters, I hadn't been there, not even a minute, but about a good minute. Long enough to catch your breath after a nice little 10-15 minute jog. But here's the thing. You get to that point, you turn to go, and it sounds so close you could reach out and touch it. You hear this huge splash. Not 35, 40 feet from me. Like straight out, and it's all dark, and that side of the stream it's all swampy, and it's the brush is so thick you can't get through it, and there's snakes and everything in there, so it's no bueno. So there's like no way to get out to this clutch of maybe 3 pines out there, which makes it even look darker. But it was like right in front of there, 15-20 feet, boom, I hear this heard the first splash. And okay, so it's 2:15, 2:20 in the morning. Like, who's gonna be the practical joker following me down? They're not gonna do it. If they go around even getting back there, there's no way they could have got back there. Geez Louise, I'm telling you. This rock came out of nowhere, and I kind of, and like I said before, I was a little bit younger. This was 2010. Okay, so that's 13 years ago. I was a young buck just coming into my 40th year. So you're starting to feel your age, but at the same time, you're holding on to your long hair and things of this nature. I think you drink yourself sober. You're back, you just had a good, mile and a half run, you sweat it all out of you. So you kind of get some beer muscles on. You're almost down to fighting weight. And, okay, like I said, it'd been a party. We had a couple libations that day, so I may or may not have had some beer muscles on. So at that time...
Plus you said you were in fighting.
Well, I'm down to fighting weight, but I'm fighting weight.
You're probably feeling like...
Jack now.
Pretty
I'm New Jack City.
You were feeling really...
I had 4 abs at the time.
You were ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah.
You were like, hey, now
like what? Plus, I know it's an animal, so it's not like... I know it's gotta be... I gotta be able to,
sure.
write it off. So, I got some beer muscles on. That first splash, I'm like, man... Who's out here at this time of night? So I'm like, try that again. Not even a complete second went by before a much larger splash happened. And he had to have been ready. And it wasn't no animal. There weren't no beaver tail.
Now, what makes you think it wasn't just a beaver?
Well, I grew up, Kerry, right next to beaver dams. I've been around beavers my whole life. My Adirondack country boy. I know what the sound of a beaver tail sound like. Something like this.
So more of like a flat smacking sound.
Yes, or a shot. Sounds more like a shot. Boy, from far off, you hear that reverb up the valley, you might think somebody touched one off.
And this isn't what you heard? You didn't hear this shot type of sound?
Oh, absolutely. No, you could hear the depth of it. See how there's no depth to that sound? What do you hear this?
Just on the surface.
Flat, motionless plane. It wasn't no bear pushing over a deadfall into, like, it wasn't a splash, it was a rock. And I'm like, man, you could hear the depth of the water, right at the bridge. The water's deep in Minerva Stream. It's shallow everywhere else except for a few deep pools. But
Yeah, I was gonna ask that.
you could hear it on the first one, but the second one, boom, and it's like, I'm colorblind, but if you could have seen my face, it must have went white, because I did not wait around. I did an instant, like the Barney Rubble, where you go up and your feet start doing this, and that's what it felt like.
Action.
So it's like Federal Flats Road is a good 250 yards up the road, and I sprinted, which, geez Louise, I don't think I could sprint that well, I know I couldn't sprint today, but even if there was something extra adrenaline carrying me, because I wasn't stopping, I wasn't looking back.
You feel
I didn't have any beer muscles, and I got all the way up that hill and past Hewitt's and past Dunkley's, and there before I finally was, like sucking wind, like and slowed down to walk backwards down the middle of the road, like WTH was that? What the heck was that, man?
Did you feel like Usain Bolt when you were running?
Yeah, only I'm going to soil my britches, and I might not make it home alive. So the fear gets, I've only had fear in me as a grown adult male, 3 times in the dark. So one, I think, was infrasound from a dog man in Johnsburg back in 2016, 18. Well, sorry, I'm getting eaten alive, but when did we do the Stony Creek Files?
I don't know. You're the dates guy, not me.
Well, here's the thing. It was the summer after that.
Some Natropel, as seen on BLB, I took it in the liquid and I rubbed it down under my sock line. And then I took the stuff and I rubbed it over the top of my socks. I've been sitting here fine.
That's where I went wrong. Thanks to our sponsors at Natropel.
Thanks to our sponsors. They dropped us.
What?
But then they picked us back up again. I guess it was some kind of clerical error. I guess the new guy came in and was trying to,
He didn't,
and made a mistake.
He unsubscribed button.
I called them up. I said, listen to me right now. You think you're dropping the BLB? You're not dropping the BLB.
I don't think so.
And they were like, what do you mean?
What's the BLB?
We didn't drop it. And I was like, really? And I was like, well, I noticed, and they're like, oh, that was our fault. We're sorry. And they sent me a case of Natropel again.
Clerical error?
That's what they told me.
Can't get good temps these days.
I mean, this stuff works, guys. If you don't use it, Natropel, it's excellent. Jake's using the lotion version. Really good for really getting good coverage.
Yeah.
And you can put it on pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And they kind of leave you alone. That stuff is, I swear by it. And the spray is really good for on the go. Just maybe you don't want to get anything on your hands or something.
Yeah,
just spray around a little quick. Boom, you're gone. Off and running.
Uneasy Rider, I put it on thicker and heavier as it went.
Jake, was that like it? At that point, you got home and then that was like, nothing else weird happened between, once you got home, or did anything weird happen when you got home? Or?
Well, I didn't get any more rocks thrown at me, if that's what you mean.
That's a riveting account, Jake. This was 4 years before you started filming with Adam, if I'm not mistaken. What makes you think it was a Bigfoot?
That's a weird thing, Carrie. It was years before we even got together, starting the paranormal stuff that eventually led to the BLB. And after hearing all of the evidence, from all those Blue Line Wednesdays and other researchers' reports that you guys had put together, all the signs kind of pointed to that. You know, you're out in the woods. You're familiar with the area. Why are they trying to contact you? I don't know. It's just something in your gut kind of tells you. Something kind of rings true, and always has.
Interesting, Jake. How about you, Adam? Feel like sharing your encounter with us?
Well, sure, Carrie. I'd love to tell everyone kind of like an experience that kind of started all this stuff for me. It was many years ago, I'd say between like 8 years ago and 10 years ago or something. Not good with dates. But I had a recording studio set up in the old family barn over on Burns Road. And that's where I had all my music stuff set up for that particular summer into the fall. And I was one night after work recording a song, a new track I was working on. I was in there, I had my whole studio set up, and I had headphones on and was listening to the track and working on it, And some noise came over the headphones, and I thought that it was coming from the computer. Within the computer, like maybe there was a different program running at the same time, and I didn't remember it, and it was like maybe like YouTube was like coming on or something in the background behind the screen or something. And I just was working on a song. I wanted to make sure it was okay. I didn't want that part to be in there, so I hit stop, and the sound was still going, but I could hear it with my headphones on, and it wasn't coming through the headphones. I took the headphones off, and I kept listening to it, and it kind of petered out. And it was like your typical, if anybody knows what the Ohio howl is, it's like a signature type of call that people think Bigfoot makes. It's like a long, ramping up sound that almost sounds like a noon whistle or something, but wait, it's organic, coming from an animal. It's like, well, maybe you don't know. That's what I heard, and I just kind of was like in shock a little bit. I'm like, what the heck was that? And I'm just sitting there.
Let's travel to the barn at Hides Hill, still standing today, where all this took place.
So this is where I was during the time it happened. This is where I had my actual recording studio. This is just a makeshift little setup here. I had it right about in this area, maybe over here somewhere. Total normal recording setup. Working on my first country album. I think it was the first or second or third song I was working on. Just here doing some recording after work, and going through the paces, listening to stuff, getting the tracks laid out, rechecking it, doing some vocals, things like that. And that's when I heard the first quote unquote call. When it first happened, I had no idea what it was or what was making the noise or where it was coming from. I had the music playing here, I had the headphones on, and I start hearing something, it was coming, it was loud enough to hear it beyond the headphones, beyond what was going on the track that I was listening to. And I thought, what the heck is that noise? Is there something that came on in the background, maybe on a different application on my computer, or is there some kind of anomaly happening that I didn't understand? Maybe something got triggered or something. So this noise, whatever it was, whatever I was hearing, was loud enough for me to hear it through the headphones. The first thing I did is I just stopped the track, but then I heard the noise. It kept happening, so I'm like, is it going somewhere else, coming through here? So what I did is I took the headphones off, and I could still hear it, but louder now that the headphones were on. And I was like, what the heck? And it just kind of like petered out, and I'm like, okay. And so I sat here for a second, and it finally stopped, and I sat here kind of like wondering, like, what did I just hear? What the heck was that? I didn't really hear it clear enough. All I knew was it was some kind of noise that happened outside of the realm of the computer and the headphones. It was coming from over here somewhere. Gave me a couple seconds to think about it. All of a sudden it started up again. And it was, it started riffing. I heard it from the very beginning the second time. It was like your typical Ohio howl type sound. It ramps up almost like a noon whistle or a siren. It was like a type of noise. And anyway, So it's happening, and I get up. This was sitting here, right on my desk. This was sitting there. This is my Tascam field recorder. This is actually a slightly newer one, but it's the same thing, same exact thing. DR40X, this one is. This was sitting here. The second one started happening, and I was like, whoa. I went to hit power on this device. There was no power on it whatsoever. So I opened it up, and there was no batteries in it. Looked around frantically to find some batteries. I happened to have a couple different remotes laying around. I had a big screen TV sitting up over there. You know, VCR, TV remotes, stereo remote stuff. I had a couple of remotes here. I grabbed the first one and took the batteries out of it, slapped them into this thing, and it still, the batteries were they came on for a second and then it died. And then the thing ended up tapering off and ending. And so then I'm just in pause mode again, and I'm like, what the heck am I hearing? I wasn't looking for, as soon as it stopped for the second time, I'm not looking for batteries anymore. I'm just like, what the heck? And then it happened a third time. Go back into freak mode. Let's try to find some batteries. Rip through a couple more things. I found another remote, maybe over here or over there. Put them in there. Barely had one bar on here to record with. Didn't know what settings were on the thing. Didn't have the mental, capacity to actually find out what the settings were. I just knew it was recording. I could see the blip going across the screen. It was these microphones. Didn't have the gain turned up very loud. And by the time I did that, I went to finally get it going. I went to record it and it stopped. So I didn't get the howl part on record. I wasn't quick enough to get that done. But I did get the batteries in. Come out here, right on the porch out here. I had this set up pretty sweet, actually. There was a nice little grill here, a grill there, table set up, nice little relaxing spot here, whatever. And I had the recorder going for probably maybe like a full minute or two. And then the next thing that I heard, and I do have it, it did come through on the microphone, although the gain wasn't turned up enough. It came from the same direction, but I tell people it sounded like a gorilla. It didn't sound like an owl hooting. It sounded like a gorilla going, hoo, 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 hoo. And it was coming from a long distance away, and it was so powerful that I heard the bass resonance in my chest cavity. It was like I could feel it. It was such a powerful sound. And so anyway, that was more or less the encounter story, the first thing that happened. Now come in here. I want to show you something that I thought was very strange. Now this is an old barn. This barn was built over 250 years ago. It's been in the family for over 47 years. My father put these windows in after the fact, years later. These came out of an old building a long time ago. These are slightly, loose panes, single panes of glass here. These windows, the glass is going and vibrating because of the frequency and just how loud it was. And that I thought was extremely weird. As soon as everything calmed down, it didn't seem like there was any more activity again, I instantly started searching the internet for noises of animals indigenous to the upper 48, or the lower 48 states, North America, looking up anything that I could think of: moose, coyotes, bear, big cats, all sorts of different stuff, and trying to find all the different noises that would possibly sound like that. And I searched on the internet for hours and hours. This is before I did any Bigfoot research. I didn't know anything about Bigfoot making howls. I didn't know anything about anything really with Bigfoot. And so I was just looking and looking and looking, and I didn't find anything that sounded anywhere near that. Nothing close, nothing at all remotely close. And then I remember it was like, it had gotten early in the morning. It was like 2:30, almost 3 o'clock in the morning, something along those lines. And I decided I'm just gonna look up a Bigfoot sound. And so I put that in the search bar on YouTube, and it was the first sound, the first search that I put into YouTube was something like an Ohio howl. It was like, and I just got my whole body just went like tingly, like wicked goosebumps, like unbelievable. And I'm sitting there listening to it. I'm like, oh my goodness, like what the heck is going on? I couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa. Then the rest of the night, I'm just up looking up Bigfoot noises and all sorts of Bigfoot stuff. And my mind is just blown. I'm like, I can't stop thinking about this whole thing, and I can't really believe what happened. I can't really believe it. It was like very hard for me to comprehend that this is possibly happening. So then I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a better microphone outside and do some recordings at night after work. It happened to rain the next couple nights, and I didn't want to record because there's a tin roof out there, and any little bit of rain on the tin roof kind of ruins the recording. You can't hear much else besides the tin roof. I love the sound of that, but it's not good for recording audio. So anyway, I had a different setup that I brought out there. I had my Rode NTG3 shotgun microphone hooked up into a Fields preamp directly into this as a recorder. So it had a really nice clean signal into there, and I boosted it up so it had a nice gain on it. You could hear anything happening out there. You could hear everything crystal clear, and it was shotgun microphones are very directional, so I had it directed right out there. And I sat out there on the porch for the first night. I sat out there and really nothing happened. And I'm trying to remember this exactly right. I don't know if it was the first or second night that I was out there. I think it was the second night I tried. I'm out there. Everybody here in the family that was here at the house that time, they left. They were all gone to a friend's house, or there was nobody here anyway. Everyone left. It was just me. And I'm sitting out on the porch here. I will explain it to you better. Come on out. So I had everything set up out here a little before dark. This was in October. This was probably when I started doing this part of recording. The original thing happened on the 13th of October. So this is probably 15th through the 18th, somewhere in there. I'm sitting here with the microphone set up on a little tripod, listening, looking through things on my phone, YouTube, keeping myself occupied, but I have the headphones on the whole time with what's coming through the microphone, so I can hear anything. And the first night I didn't really get much. I didn't get anything that I thought was interesting. The second night, like I said, I was here by myself recording. It had gotten dark. It had just gotten dark. I'm like, okay, that's when I heard it last time. Maybe these things are kind of like crepuscular in nature. Maybe they come out in the dusk, the dawn, the dusk, or just after dark. Maybe like a fox does, or other animals like that, raccoons and whatnot. They're more nocturnal, but I was thinking maybe something's gonna happen pretty soon. I'm just sitting there. Everything's calm, peaceful, and relaxed. And it was a lot like the same night I heard the howl. There was no noise at all. There was nothing. And this is a funny thing that happened. I didn't hear anything, but I smelled something. And all of a sudden, something wafted up. I got a real good whiff of it, and it happened in about 1 second. That's all I smelled, just real quick, and then it was gone. And it was a very strange smell, something I've never smelled before. It was very gross and very weird, and I was like, what the hell is that smell? And I'm just like, and it just happened quickly, and I'm just like, and there was hardly a breeze at all. And then it happened again, and I got a real good deep nostril full of this smell, and it, for some reason, the smell scared me. And I tell people it's funny that I've never been scared by a smell before, really. But this, whatever it was, I've never smelled it before. It made me very uneasy. I just instantly gathered up all my recording equipment, everything that was on the table, ran inside and locked the door, and just kind of hid out and waited for people to get home so I could maybe tell them a story, or at least have someone around in case something happens. There's no firearms or anything here. Hear that? Those are leaves on the roof up there. Any rain or anything would have prevented me from recording. So, I mean, in a nutshell, that's basically what got me started into switching what we have from what we were going to do, Adirondack Paranormal Investigators, into maybe just going towards the topic of Bigfoot exclusively, kind of focusing on that, because what happened in that couple days here it definitely changed my life. It definitely opened my eyes and changed my life. It made me like my primal instincts, my whatever it is.
Check, please.
Go like, dude, that's exactly what it was. I grabbed all my stuff was plugged in. I'm sitting there like that. I'm recording. I just instantly grabbed all my stuff right off the table, just like that, which I normally would take way better care of it than that.
Yeah, no, that's it.
And just boom, opened up the door, ran inside, locked the door,
Fight or
sat
flight.
there patiently until
And we're lovers, not fighters.
somebody came, because it was scary. It was scary. Totally still night. Again, there was no real any animals or anything. It was just totally dead still. Nothing, no sound or anything. And that smell that came over, it reminded me of, like, say a guy, really rank dude, BO, body odor from somebody who's just doesn't take care of themselves ever.
Never showers.
Like really bad BO. Mixed with like rotten garbage. Like if there's like, sometimes in the summer garbage can be out for a long time and it goes through stages of smelling like rotten garbage and then it goes beyond that and it gets to like this different stage.
With potatoes.
Something.
Oh, that's the worst.
And then that mixed in with like a bunch of baby diapers piled in a pile in the sun too. It smelled like a diaper. It smelled like really bad BO and like really bad garbage, kind of all mixed up into this really strange way that I'd never smelled before. Anything, and since then I haven't. But it was really powerful. It was powerful, and it was scary.
Well, we could be here all week. You guys have a lot more we could cover. We'll save that for another day. Thanks for sharing your stories with us.
Well, we made it back home, back to Mississippi.
How's New York?
Loved it. Very beautiful country. Very thick woods.
And those boys were just so easy on the eyes, Carrie. They're so handsome.
But it was absolutely beautiful scenery. Very thick scenery. So I can see how anything could hide in it.
Well,
It's our 13th show.
I don't think we did bad at all, considering everything that we had to go through and, the whole idea. Obviously, we're going to get better at it. But,
Adam and Jake at the BLB.
how about that, huh?
Oh, I love meeting Adam. I love meeting Jake.
So,
Well, you couldn't meet better
nicer
people.
people. Very nice people.
Absolutely. And we definitely appreciate
Adam and Jake for
opening up their home to us and just taking the time, to shoot the show.
Adam.
Really did me a favor on this one, or did us a favor on this one. But join us on the next Bigfoot Odyssey, and thank you.